With Catherine beside him, our new Prince and Princess of Wales will, I know, continue to inspire and lead our national conversations, helping to bring the marginal to the center ground.
In an astonishing development that no one saw coming, King Charles has reportedly made a secret decision that could change the future of the monarchy forever. Behind palace walls and away from the public eye, Catherine, Princess of Wales, is said to have been granted extraordinary emergency powers, sparking shock, confusion, and intense speculation across the nation. Why would the king take such a bold and unprecedented step? What looming crisis forced this move? And what could Catherine's newfound authority mean for the royal family's future? So, what do you think? Is this a desperate act to protect the crown during a time of crisis, or a carefully planned strategy to secure the monarchy's future? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. To help us bring you more royal updates and uncover the latest palace drama, please subscribe. The Midnight Signature at Windsor. On the night of June 11th, 2026, Windsor Castle is wrapped in a deep, almost unnatural silence. The kind of silence that feels heavier than words, as if even the walls themselves are holding their breath. Outside, the world continues its normal rhythm. Cities are asleep, streets are empty, and lights are turned low. But inside the ancient castle, time feels different, slower, more serious. In the heart of the palace, the king's private study glows faintly with a single warm light. It cuts through the darkness like a quiet signal that something important is happening, something the public will never see in real time. There are no cameras in this room, no journalists waiting outside, no carefully written press release prepared for morning headlines. Only the king, his thoughts, and the weight of history pressing down on the moment. King Charles sits alone at his desk. In front of him lies a sheet of thick, cream-colored parchment, official, formal, and unchanging once ink touches it. He holds a fountain pen in his hand, steady but thoughtful, as if fully aware that what he is about to do cannot be undone or easily explained. This is not a public ceremony. There are no witnesses outside the palace circle, no applause, no ceremony or tradition. Instead, there is only privacy, tension, and purpose. As the clock moves quietly through the night, the king makes his decision final. He begins to write, each stroke of ink carrying meaning far beyond the page. Then, without hesitation, he signs. With that single signature, King Charles completes a secret royal decree, one that is not meant for celebration or public praise. It will not appear in speeches or official announcements. For now, it remains hidden, protected by silence and trust within the palace walls. But its importance cannot be measured by how quietly it was made. Because behind the secrecy lies a decision that will reshape the inner structure of the monarchy in ways few will understand immediately. A move made not for attention, but for control, stability, and survival. In that quiet study, under a single burning light, history shifts, softly, silently, and permanently, without the world even realizing it has already begun. At the very moment the world slept, King Charles chose to sign a decree after careful consideration. But what could this signature truly mean? How significant is it to the monarchy he leads? And why was it done in secrecy? Now let's uncover the hidden decree, the silent transfer of power. What is written in that document is far from normal royal procedure. It is not the kind of paper that deals with routine titles, small duties, or symbolic honors. Instead, it is something far more serious and rare. A quiet but powerful transfer of supreme authority to Catherine, Princess of Wales. This is not a decision made for ceremony, applause, or tradition. There are no public announcements attached to it, no royal event planned around it, and no formal celebration waiting in the future. It is a decision made in silence, shaped by urgency rather than spectacle. At its core, this is a calculated move, almost like an emergency plan activated behind closed doors. The monarchy, facing growing pressure and uncertain times, requires stability in places where weakness cannot be allowed. In this moment, King Charles chooses to place extraordinary responsibility into the hands of someone he believes will not break under pressure. That person is Catherine. Within the structure of the royal family, she is quietly positioned in a role that goes far beyond her public image. She is no longer just a senior member of the royal household or a familiar public figure at official events. In the context of this secret decree, she becomes something closer to a central pillar, someone expected to help hold the entire future stability of the crown. It is a decision built on trust, but also on necessity. The king is not simply rewarding loyalty or popularity. He is responding to a situation that demands reliability, discipline, and emotional strength at the highest level. In his view, Catherine represents a rare combination of calm judgment and steady commitment that the moment requires. The most striking part of this decision is not just what it does, but how it is done. It is carried out in complete secrecy, hidden from the public eye and shielded from the usual systems of oversight. There are no leaks, no announcements, and no official hints given beforehand. This silence is intentional. By keeping the decree hidden, the palace avoids immediate reaction from the public, political debate from outside institutions, and intense media attention that could distort or destabilize the decision before it even takes effect. For now, everything remains contained within the walls of Windsor. But inside that secrecy lies a shift that quietly changes the balance of responsibility at the very top of the monarchy. Placing Catherine at the center of a future few people will fully understand until much later. King Charles made the shocking decision to grant Catherine supreme emergency powers behind closed doors without involving anyone else. But how carefully calculated was the king in carrying out this move? How did he defy palace protocol to make history with the signing? Let's uncover the details. A system shut down on purpose. Buckingham Palace is usually known for its perfect order, almost like a carefully built machine that never stops working. Every movement is planned. Every message passes through several hands before it is approved. Advisors, secretaries, private staff, and senior officials all play their roles in a system where nothing is supposed to happen by chance. In this world, even the smallest decision goes through layers of checks. The king is never truly alone, and every action is expected to follow long-standing rules and traditions. It is a place where structure is everything, and silence usually means routine. But on this particular night, something breaks that pattern. Without warning, the usual rhythm of the palace is disrupted. Orders are quietly passed through the inner staff, and they are unusual in both tone and urgency. Corridors that are normally filled with movement and quiet conversations begin to empty. Staff members are told to step away from key areas without explanation. Senior aides, who are normally close to the king during important decisions, are held back. Even those who would usually be stationed just outside the private study are instructed to leave the area entirely. Security presence, which is normally tight and constant, is reduced in a way that feels deliberate and highly unusual. For many working inside the palace, there is no clear explanation given. There is only instruction and silence. As the night deepens, the atmosphere inside Windsor begins to change. The familiar sense of order feels replaced by something heavier, something harder to define. The halls, usually alive with quiet efficiency, feel unusually empty. Footsteps echo more than they should. Doors close with a strange finality. Those who remain inside the building can sense that something important is happening behind closed doors. Not something ceremonial or routine, but something that carries weight, risk, and long-term consequences. One staff member, reflecting on the experience later, describes the feeling in a way that captures the mood perfectly. They call it the calm before a storm no one was allowed to see coming. It is not panic that fills the palace. It is uncertainty mixed with restraint. A sense that something historic is unfolding just out of view. where even those inside are not fully allowed to understand it. And in that silence, Buckingham Palace stops feeling like a controlled machine and starts feeling like a place holding its breath. King Charles was deliberate in his decision to grant Catherine such extraordinary authority, ensuring that nothing stood in the way of carrying it out. But what drove him to make such a bold choice? Was it a deeply personal decision, or were other factors at play? If so, what could have compelled him to depart from long-established royal traditions? Let's find out. The weight of the crown. King Charles is described by those close to him as clearly exhausted. The weight of his role, combined with ongoing health struggles, has taken a visible toll. His face carries signs of fatigue, and there are moments where the strain of responsibility seems heavy on his body. Yet despite this, his mind remains sharp, steady, and deeply focused on what he believes must be done. To many who observe him, there is a striking contrast. Physically, he appears worn down by time and duty. But mentally, he seems more determined than ever, as if the pressure around him has sharpened his sense of purpose instead of weakening it. During a private moment, a doctor reportedly advises him to slow down and take a rest. The concern is clear. His condition and the demands of leadership are beginning to clash in a dangerous way. It is a warning meant to protect him, to preserve his strength for the days ahead. But the king does not respond in the way many might expect. Instead, he speaks with calm seriousness. There is no anger in his voice, no panic, only certainty. He reportedly says that the survival of the crown matters more than his own personal condition. In his mind, the institution he represents is not just a symbol. It is something that must be protected at all costs, even if it requires personal sacrifice. This moment reveals more than just physical strain. It shows a monarch who feels the pressure of time pressing heavily on every decision. To him, the situation is no longer about long discussions, careful waiting, or gradual change. It is about urgency. He believes the monarchy has reached a point where hesitation could create weakness. And in a world that is constantly changing, weakness is something the crown cannot afford. From his perspective, waiting is no longer a safe option. The future demands action now, not later. Stability must be reinforced immediately, and the structure of the institution must be strengthened from within before external pressures grow stronger. This mindset explains the intensity behind his decisions. Even in a state of physical exhaustion, he pushes forward because he sees himself not just as a man dealing with personal limits, but as a guardian of something far larger than himself. In that quiet exchange with the doctor, one thing becomes clear. King Charles is not simply trying to manage a kingdom. He is trying to secure its survival in a time he believes will not wait for anyone. The reality of King Charles's health condition may have played a crucial role in his decision to grant Catherine emergency powers. But why was Catherine chosen above everyone else? What qualities did the king see in her that convinced him she was worthy of such extraordinary trust? Now let's uncover how Catherine's discipline transformed her into the royal family's most trusted anchor. The making of a silent pillar. Catherine's position within the royal family is not something that happens by chance or sudden favor. It is the result of years of steady effort, quiet discipline, and a way of living that has never been driven by attention or personal spotlight. Her rise is slow, careful, and built on consistency rather than drama. From the beginning, she does not appear to chase popularity or public approval in the way many might expect from someone in her position. Instead, she develops a reputation for calm focus and patience. While the world around the royal family often reacts quickly to pressure and media noise, Catherine chooses a different path, one that values control over reaction and responsibility over emotion. Unlike others who have struggled under constant public attention, she seems to understand early that survival within the monarchy is not about being the loudest voice in the room. It is about being the most steady, and so she builds her life around stability. She learns how to remain composed even when situations become intense, listen more than she speaks, and how to carry responsibility without allowing pressure to show on the surface. Her strength is not the kind that demands attention. It does not come with dramatic gestures or public displays. Instead, it is quiet, consistent, and deeply grounded. People who work closely with her often notice the same thing. When challenges arise, she does not rush into panic or confusion. She slows things down. She thinks carefully. She responds with calm clarity. Even during difficult personal moments, she continues to protect the image and stability of the monarchy. She understands that her role is not only personal, but symbolic. The way she carries herself becomes part of how the institution is seen by the public. Over time, this steady approach changes how she is viewed from within the royal system. She is no longer seen simply as a member of the family fulfilling duties or attending events. Instead, she becomes something far more important in the eyes of those who observe closely. She evolves into a stabilizing force, someone the institution can lean on when uncertainty rises. In moments where pressure builds and the future feels unclear, her presence offers balance, not through force or authority, but through calm reliability. In this way, Catherine's journey is not marked by sudden transformation, but by years of proving, quietly and consistently, that she can remain steady when everything else begins to shift. Beyond Catherine's rise as a stabilizing force the institution can rely on when everything else feels uncertain, what initiatives has she championed over the years that further prepared her for this new role? And how committed is she to the long-term success of these meaningful projects? Let's uncover the remarkable details. Before the storm of power. Long before any whispers of secret royal decisions or discussions about emergency authority ever appeared, Catherine had already spent years quietly building a strong reputation inside the royal family. Her name was not linked to drama or controversy, but to steady service, calm effort, and a kind of influence that worked quietly in the background. From the very first moment she stepped into royal life, she showed an ability to adjust without struggle. Many expected pressure, difficulty, or even resistance, but instead she moved into her role with surprising ease. She learned quickly, observed, and carried herself with a calm confidence that people around her noticed almost immediately. Over time, the public began to respond to her in the same way, showing growing respect and support. But this support was never based on image alone. It came from consistency, patience, and real work done behind the scenes. Her influence was never built on fame or attention. Instead, it was shaped by long-term commitment to causes that mattered deeply to her. One of her strongest focuses has been charity work, especially programs connected to children and early development. She did not treat these efforts as symbolic appearances, but as serious, long-term responsibilities. In 2021, she helped launch the Center for Early Childhood under the Royal Foundation. This project was not just another royal initiative. It reflected her belief that the earliest years of life shape everything that follows. It became a clear sign of her dedication to building stronger foundations for future generations. Her involvement in mental health advocacy also strengthened her public role. In 2017, she worked alongside Prince William and Prince Harry on the Heads Together campaign. The goal was simple but important: to open conversations around mental health, reduce fear, and help people speak more freely about struggles that are often hidden in silence. Outside of official duties, Catherine also shows a more personal and creative side. As an amateur photographer, she often captures family moments, offering a softer and more human view of royal life. These simple images help the public see a more natural side of the monarchy. Over time, all these efforts combined into something larger than individual projects. To many observers inside and outside the palace, it became clear that Catherine was not just fulfilling royal duties. She was slowly becoming one of the most reliable and steady pillars holding the modern monarchy together through quiet strength and consistent purpose. Catherine had been championing meaningful causes long before King Charles granted her supreme emergency powers. But was the success of those initiatives the only reason she earned the king's confidence? Or did their shared experiences during times of personal challenge create a deeper bond of trust? And what made her stand out for such responsibility? Let's uncover the details. A bond forged in hardship. The relationship between King Charles and Catherine slowly grows into something that goes beyond normal royal family ties. At first, it is shaped by tradition, formal roles, public duties, and carefully managed appearances. But over time, something deeper begins to form between them, something built not on ceremony, but on shared human experience. Both of them face difficult personal challenges. There are health struggles, long periods of recovery, and the constant pressure that comes with being under public watch. These experiences are not easy, and they cannot be hidden behind titles or royal status. They affect how they think, how they lead, and how they see the future of the monarchy. In private moments, away from public eyes and official events, their conversations take on a very different tone. They are no longer just the King and Princess of Wales speaking within a formal structure. Instead, they are two people carrying the weight of an institution that is larger than themselves. In these quiet discussions, the focus is not on appearance or public image. There are no talks about fashion, speeches, or ceremonies. Instead, the subjects are heavier and more serious. Duty, responsibility, legacy, and the long-term survival of the crown. They speak about what it takes to hold an ancient institution together in a modern world that is constantly changing and often unforgiving. These shared conversations create a level of understanding that cannot be easily replaced or taught. It is built through experience, not instruction. They begin to see each other not just as family members, but as partners in the same struggle, the effort to protect and preserve the monarchy during uncertain times. With each passing challenge, the trust between them deepens. It becomes less about rank or position and more about reliability and shared purpose. The king begins to see Catherine not only as a respected member of the royal family, but as someone who understands the true weight of responsibility without needing it explained. This trust does not appear overnight. It is formed slowly through moments of difficulty, recovery, and reflection. Beyond the health challenges King Charles and Catherine both faced, which helped build the king's confidence in the princess, could there be a unique quality she possesses that is rare among those who were married into the royal family? What is it that the king values so deeply in her character? And what truly sets her apart from the rest? Let's find out. Lessons from the past. Over the years, the British monarchy has seen different ways in which royal women have tried to handle the pressure of life inside one of the most demanding institutions in the world. Each person who entered that world brought their own personality, hopes, and way of coping with the constant attention and strict expectations. For some, the response was resistance. They chose to speak openly about their emotions, their struggles, and the challenges they faced within the system. This approach often drew strong public attention and sympathy, but it also brought instability. The more visible the struggle became, the more pressure it created within the institution itself. For others, the path was endurance. Instead of speaking out or challenging the structure, they chose to stay within it and endure the pressure quietly. This required great patience and emotional strength. It was a long road of adjusting, accepting, and continuing to fulfill duties even when things were difficult. While this path brought stability, it often came at the cost of personal silence and internal strain. Some chose separation. For them, the demands of royal life felt too restrictive, and they decided to step away in search of independence and a stronger sense of personal identity. This choice gave them freedom, but it also meant leaving behind the responsibilities and structure of royal duty. Against all of these different paths, Catherine's approach stands out as something entirely different. She does not choose confrontation and does not seek escape. Instead, she chooses adaptation. From the beginning, she understands that the monarchy is not something that can simply be fought against or walked away from if one intends to remain within it. So instead of resisting the system or leaving it, she learns how it works, how it breathes, and how it survives. Over time, she becomes skilled at operating within its structure, not by changing its foundations, but by becoming someone it can rely on. Her strength is not loud or dramatic. It is quiet and steady, built on understanding rather than opposition. In this way, Catherine does something rare. She does not break the system, and she does not abandon it. Instead, she grows within it until she becomes an essential part of its survival, proving that quiet adaptation can sometimes be more powerful than either resistance or escape. Catherine neither fought against the monarchy nor chose to walk away during moments of difficulty, which deeply impressed the king. But will her new role face strong opposition within the system? Or are there no rivals for such responsibility? And what could this shift mean for the future of the monarchy? Let's explore the details. A new era of the monarchy. By June 2026, the British monarchy finds itself in a situation it has not faced in many years. The number of active working royals has grown smaller, while the demands placed on the institution continue to increase. At the same time, public expectations are changing, and political pressure is becoming harder to ignore. What once felt like a large, stable structure now feels thinner, more stretched, and more fragile than before. Inside the palace, this shift is clearly felt. The system that once depended on many senior figures now has fewer hands to carry the load. Roles that were once shared among several members are now concentrated in the hands of a few. This creates pressure at the very top, where decisions must be made carefully and quickly to prevent imbalance within the institution. It is within this context that the secret decree takes on its deeper meaning. It is not simply about titles or symbolic recognition. It reflects a new survival strategy, one built on consolidation, trust, and focused responsibility. Instead of spreading authority widely, the system begins to center it around those who have proven they can be relied on under pressure. In this new structure, Catherine is placed at the heart of internal stability. Her role is not just visible to the public, but deeply important behind the scenes. She becomes the person expected to ensure continuity within the royal household, maintaining order and balance while other senior royals handle external duties, diplomacy, and public-facing responsibilities. This shift represents something much larger than a single decision. It signals a turning point in how the monarchy sees itself and how it intends to survive in a modern world that is constantly changing. The image of an unshakable, unchanging institution begins to fade, replaced by something more practical and more human, a system that must adjust to endure. And within this new reality, Catherine emerges as a central figure, not through sudden promotion or public declaration, but through trust built over time and responsibility gradually placed upon her shoulders. She becomes the quiet force holding the internal structure together, helping to shape both the present stability of the crown and the uncertain path that lies ahead for the future heir. So, what do you think about King Charles's decision? Do you see it as the right move or a mistake on his part? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.